Very well, thank you. I am sporting a new do for the holiday and a new
Yes.
background as well. So this is
Yeah.
about as far as I'll go on Halloween. We haven't had any visitors, no children coming by our house. It's too scary. Now, is
Yeah.
Halloween a thing where you live? You live in Sweden. We live in
Yes,
California.
and it's a it's a made up as all the holidays in a way. It's made up in one way or another. But I like this one because as not a religious person, not as a free thinker, I'm a bit soft. So I don't like scary things or horror movies or
Hmm.
dead things like that. But I could understand that you could play with it and then with a glimpse in your eye, and of course it's fun for the kids. So I'm all for it. And if you could stir up the things with some elements in the society and they get have a problem with it, I have no problem with it.
Yeah, I'm not
So
a big
trick and
fan
treat
of.
and
I'm, I'm not a big
yeah,
fan of zombies and horror as well, but I do
no,
like how creative it is. Right, it gives a
yeah,
chance to
it
be
is.
people. What they can be, whatever they want.
And as a
Yeah,
prepper, I have to
it's
be
okay.
prepared for the zombies. You know what you need to have in order to have get defend yourself against the zombie. I have learned that
Yeah,
from
we already
prepper.
have
Yeah,
zombies. We
the
already have
crow.
zombies.
Yeah, yeah. You have it in
But they're
you have
living, they're not
yeah,
dead.
yeah. You have at several places.
That's
some
right. That's
some
right.
some in the Beltway and some in California even. Yeah,
All over the world,
all
any
over the
place there
place.
are people, there are zombies, and they
Yes,
live their lives in a daze. I
and
get
and
that.
we
So
we will try not to be that. We will try to
no,
have a lively
not
show here.
today. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we're here to do a job today. We are here to record the next episode of High Five for Hemp, our podcast where we talk about all things hemp and the amazing product that's thousands of years old, but just coming to market. Boy, that's a long time. So I'm going to let it you take over to do the introduction, and then we're just going to jump in.
Yeah. And do you see me right now in the
You look
center?
you
Left,
yeah, you're a
right,
little off, but
center.
that's okay. It's
Yeah.
Halloween.
Yeah. Okay.
You're a little to the side.
I will learn it someday.
Yeah.
Okay. So, welcome to High Five for Hemp. My name is Martin Lindeskog. Hi,
And
Adam. Yes?
hi, how are you? Happy
Oh,
Halloween.
yeah.
So, for those of you not watching the live feed, if you're just listening to the podcast, which
Mm,
we are recording, you're missing all the fun. We are on haps.tv, which is a broadcast service, a broadcast platform for creators like Martin and myself, where we can share with the world our ideas, our thoughts. And this next bit, I'm not sure how long it'll last because
mm.
there's really no form to it. We're going to be talking about the amazing little product that could hemp, cannabis sativa, and all those good things, but more so on the industrial side, more about the business, about the wonders, about the things that go beyond just it's a plant that's illegal in most places. Though that's an interesting conversation too.
Yeah. And talking
But
about that, yeah, we have to create, because you are very creative, so we will create the American map with where it's legal and which direction it's going. And then the whole world, I think we should map out
I think
in
that's a
the
good
long run.
idea. We'll have to change that map by the hour though, because
Yeah.
it's changing every week. I see new things. So
Mm.
at least we have election day next week here, and we'll probably see a few more colors flip. I haven't been watching it state by state, but
Mm.
I'm sure that'll be the case, and we'll certainly share that on the show after the changes happen. And across the countries too, outside of the United States, I just read that CBD has now become legal to use in cosmetics in across the European Union, right?
Mm.
So companies can put CBD into their lotions and potions that we put on our faces and our bodies and stuff like that. And I know I need all the makeup I can get, so that
Yeah,
should be
I see
helpful.
that. With that hairdo, I,
Yeah,
yes.
exactly. My new hair. I don't know how people deal with this stuff, but today I've got my hair on, so it's Halloween. I
Yeah.
can be whoever I want to be. So it's more
Mm.
fitting, though. It's more fitting for this show. But another thing that happens here in the United States every year, without fail, state attorneys across the land, they make these general statements,
Mm.
warnings for
Mm.
Halloween about marijuana edibles that might appear in children's candies, though there's
Yeah.
absolutely no evidence of this ever happening. Ever.
Yeah,
There zero.
how big risk is that? And how, I mean, could somebody like an adult come up with this stupid idea to give that to kids?
Well, it's attorney generals that are against the whole idea of the legalization of cannabis. So, the
Yeah,
attorney general in Ohio, New York,
yeah.
Illinois, Connecticut, and Arkansas, they all released statements early this week, as part of a coordinated effort to advise parents about the dangers of marijuana edibles. And while
Mm. Yeah, we
kids
shouldn't.
shouldn't be eating this stuff,
No,
right?
no.
Very few parents will put that out the door, right? It
Yes.
While yeah, there might be a few products that could be confused. If you understand the cost of these products, how
Mm,
expensive a little bag of edibles could be, 35, $50,
mm.
the
Yeah.
last place that's going to be is in a goodie bag out the door,
Yeah.
right?
And if
And
that will be
fortunately,
that creepy person, now I interrupt you, but then you should, when you go this route, maybe you shouldn't go past that house or you pass by that house, right? If it's a
yeah,
problem.
that's true too. Parents should really take into account which
Yeah.
houses they go to, right? And
Be careful out there.
they should inspect their children's candy. But I would
Yes.
say that, when it comes down to being afraid of harm that might happen from ingesting a cannabis product,
Mm.
you know how many OD deaths there are from cannabis? Do you know how many
No,
in the history of humanity? Do you know how many?
no.
None. It's never
Mm,
happened. It's a non-toxic product. It
mm,
might make you feel bad, right?
mm,
And it's rare, as in, there are no cases of this ever happening. Now, children have ingested these products, right?
mm,
Out of mistake. This has happened, and it's up to the parents to take care of these products, hide them away, or buy the products. You can buy the products without the packaging that makes it look like candy, and be responsible. I mean, do
mm.
you put your medicine in a candy bowl? No, of course
No.
not. You don't do that, right?
So,
And it's funny because the logic is not there, the evidence is not there. It's just pushing more fear. The attorney general is pushing more fear down to the parents that
mm,
there's something out to get their children because it's good for their business, right?
mm,
Having people arrested is good for their business. Being
yeah.
an attorney general, and it just it annoys me. It annoys me
Mm.
every year that this happens without
I
fail.
hear you. Mm,
But parents, enjoy this day. Go out with your kids. I would tell you that probably sugar will do more harm to your children
mm.
than cannabis as
Yeah.
candy.
So
And also, I don't know if you've ever tasted edibles before, like the ones that look like the candy. They're
no.
disgusting. They taste terrible. Kids
Hmm.
will know, they will know when they eat it that something tastes wrong. I can't
Mm,
see a kid eating an entire bag of cannabis gummy bears. They kind of
mm,
taste. They have kind of like a dirty, earthy taste on top of the
hmm.
sugar. So
Okay.
you definitely know something is off, and most kids would be
Yeah.
smart enough not to finish them, unless you were a kid like me. I'd probably finish the whole bag, knowing what they were. But anyway, there's that story, and every
Yeah.
year we hear it. So I would say, parents, take care of your children. Absolutely, invest their
Yeah.
candy, but the chances of you finding a THC or cannabis candy in what your children are getting from your neighbors, pretty
Mm,
rare. Pretty rare.
yeah.
There's no evidence that this happens or has happened. So, have fun.
Mm, yeah.
So, how
Yeah.
about your
Because
kids, Martin? You have lots of
yeah.
kids, right?
No, no, I don't. I brought it. So yeah, I mean, I think it could be fun, but I mean, do it in a light way, and yeah, and even with real candy, then eat as you want, but in a modest way, maybe, or yeah, and brush your teeth, and yeah, have fun.
Wash your hands and all that
Wash
stuff.
your
I'm
hands. Yeah.
wondering, we don't see many kids over where I live because I live on a very steep hill, and there are a lot more houses that are lower and easier to access. So we haven't seen any kids this year. But we do see the kids around, and I'm
Mm.
wondering, are the kids still wearing masks, or they are wearing like full masks? Like, so are
Mm.
their COVID masks part of their costume, or are
Yeah.
there any kids that are out there as COVID patients or COVID doctors or COVID the a virus? I'm sure there's like some kids who are getting dressed up as the little viral like
Yeah.
character. They made
Like
him
the
so
ball.
cute.
Yeah.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
ball with all the spikes.
Spike.
No, I don't know.
Yeah.
So if you're watching us on Haps, we see you. Leave us a comment. We'd love to hear from you. If you're watching us on Facebook, all our friends, hey, I'm not monitoring Facebook, but I should. I'm just going to have fun with the show. When
Yeah.
we see your comment in Haps, it says anonymous Facebook user. So I might not know your name, but we can see it. So if you have any questions for us, let us know. We're going to have fun. And also, for those of you who are watching the live feed, and if you got to go, don't worry, we record the show. We'll be posting this on our podcast, which you can find at high5forhemp.com or any of the major podcast players or 2.0 players. Go check one out. And that's a great way to listen to all of these things. And today we have in the title, you see this word that's so odd, hempcrete. Hempcrete. What is this hempcrete we talk about? What is hempcrete? Well, hempcrete is an alternate building product that competes with concrete, and it's a really interesting product that builders are using where they can get it. It's very rare, but it's out there, and there's a lot of good reasons for using that. So I ask you, Martin, have you heard of hempcrete before? Is this a thing in Sweden? Are people building houses out of marijuana plants like they are in other
No,
parts of the
not
world?
what I know about, but I got the feedback and a connection since last latest episode, where it was the Swedish Hemp in Industry Association, and there I sent an email through LinkedIn or a message through LinkedIn, and they liked our work and said that we're pretty busy with their conference and other things going on. So I think that could be, we could see that in the future, and I want to share this with contacts in the industry and others, that this could be an alternative building material. And as I said, my standing point there is let the market decide and see what you could do. So why not have, instead of regular concrete, why not use part hemp and a part, what is it, lime, not limestone, but
Lime,
some,
yes,
yeah,
lime, which is a crushed powder that they use as the binder, as the cement that glues it all
yeah.
together. So let's explain this a little bit. So are people really building houses out of marijuana plants? Well,
Mm.
technically, yes, they are, and it's really amazing how they do it. What they do is, and it's great because when we grow the hemp plant and we use it for various things like fibers for making ropes or making cloth like sails and big flags and all of these incredible things that they use the hemp fibers for. What they also do is take the stalk from the stalk of the plant, which is like an iron rod. They're so strong. Inside the stalk, there's something called hurd, which is a material, kind of a spongy material that they scrape out. They extract that and break it up. It dries up. And that becomes essentially something that's very akin to a wood pulp, like something they would use in compressed board. Like you've ever been to the hardware store and you see those boards that are so MDF, it's just like a compressed board of all kind of wooden pieces, and they use it in cabinets and other cheaper furniture, kind of like a plywood, right? Something like that.
Mm.
Well, what they do is they mix that with lime, which becomes, and water, and they stir it up, and it becomes a bit of a paste. And so when they build the house, like they build a house out of concrete, when they're building concrete, they use forms. And do you know how this works in construction? Are you familiar with the process or the technique of using forms to build buildings? Are you familiar with
A
this?
little
I'm
bit,
asking
but
you.
not much.
Okay,
Yeah,
so what they do is they put posts in the ground and then they put
yeah,
plywood across from each
yeah.
other, and it leaves a gap like a
Mm.
mold, like a space. And then typically they just pour the concrete into the forms. And then when it
Mm.
dries, they take away the concrete. And what you're left with is a nice shape. And you can do all kinds of interesting shapes and curves and whatever you want. It's concrete. And sometimes they'll even drop some eye bar in there, some iron bar to create some
Mm.
additional strength. But when you're
Yeah.
driving on the road and you see a bridge or you see an overpass, that's how they do it. They do it with the forms. Well, it's the
Mm.
same idea here in building a house with hempcrete, but instead of using concrete, you're using this mixture that is the inside of the plant all scraped down. It's this very lightweight material mixed with lime and water, which creates kind of a paste. And they tamp that down and tamp it down. So they pour it in and they tamp it down, meaning pushing it down into the mold until it's filled. And then they just let it sit and dry. And then they take off the boards, the form, which is just a plywood board, very cheap board that they use quite often for concrete as well. And then you're left with this beautiful wall. And why is this so beautiful? Well, one, it's a non-toxic product, right? So there's no weird chemicals or off-gassing. It's non-toxic, so the person building the house is not at odds as well. It doesn't require special equipment, really, or even special forms or permits. And the the garbage that it creates, like when we do construction, there's a lot of extra stuff. It creates a lot of garbage. Is also easier to clean up because it's biodegradable in a way, right? And what's so great about hempcrete is that it is fire retardant, right? It's non-toxic, it's porous, so vapor can pass through it. It
Mm.
is quite amazing as a material, and it's lightweight. It's
Yeah.
lightweight as well. So what you have is something that's going to last as long as there's a roof over the structure. It'll last for at least your lifetime, maybe even the
Mm.
next generation, right? And it's incredible material. It's incredible material. The challenge is it's just not widely available, right? The technology is not that complicated, but it's just not that widely available. Nor is hemp widely available. It's just becoming legal, but we'll probably be seeing this a lot more as a building material. Now, the challenge is that concrete is so well established as an industry here. Right
Mm.
now, hempcrete is so small that it's not really a threat. But if you understand the book Innovator's Dilemma that was written by Clay Christensen, who was a professor out of Harvard Business School, it's
Mm.
this idea that sometimes little technologies can come out of the left field or the right field, way out of the
Mm.
radar, the least thing you'd expect, and they can turn things upside down, like the way podcasting
Yeah.
is turning around media, right? It's like
Yeah.
this little thing that just appeared, and now people are creating their own media, right? Do you watch the news? I mean, you could go find your own people that'll provide you with the news. There's so many examples where a little thing that you wouldn't even imagine can turn an industry upside down. And this is one of those things, right? And I think the concrete industry is aware of this because it's becoming more and more easy to grow hemp. And could be some of the money, the lobbyist money behind restricting
Yeah.
the ease of
I,
doing business with these
I
materials because
I
it'll
can take an
upend the existing industry.
example here from Sweden in the island Gotland, where we have a big concrete manufacturing factory, and they didn't get the permit to continue with their business. And then you could wonder what will happen with buildings and roads and bridges and so on. So it have been lots of debates about that. So
Yes,
it's
yes.
interesting to see, but then you have to have a supply of it also. If you stop one thing, you have to be prepared for alternatives. But I'm interesting to hear more about it, and then also being a little bit of devil's advocate. When we prepared, you had the advantages, pluses, and then also disadvantages and or minus or challenges. So when you say it's light, how stable is it compared to concrete? And if you have something that's like a natural plant into a wall, could that be like what could have happen with it? Could it be fungus? Could it be mold? or even may be even better than other material.
Well, actually, it's resistant to
Yeah.
mold. It's resistant to vermins. It's resistant to those kinds of things, right? Because it's breathable. It's porous.
Mm,
And it is also disaster resistant. It will not burn, right? It will not crack. It's a very flexible because it's made from organic material, which is plant, right? It is strong and it is durable. It's eco-friendly, non-toxic as construction material, but it is not as strong as concrete. So hempcrete will never replace concrete. So like you wouldn't build an overpass or a bridge or an entire building out of the stuff. Where it's used more for is it's a really great insulator. It's great
mm,
insulation. So it could be used for the internal walls, right? Or it could be used for a home, something that's not going to bear as much weight as, say, like an 18-wheel truck, right?
mm,
Hempcrete walls have to also be thicker in size compared to other walls because it's not as strong, right? Or you would need to add additional materials like bar or metal. It cannot be used for heavy loads, right? So that's not what it's for. But there are so many applications in building where you just don't need. I mean, you don't need to park an 18-wheeler on top of your house, right? And so the idea here is this will be an alternate for building. And in some ways, it makes a lot more sense than concrete. The unfortunate truth, though, is that most builders have a lack of knowledge of how to use this material, right? It's just, and it's also about 30% more expensive than using traditional building materials. And when you're building a big development or a big building, the money really matters, right? So, really, what we're seeing are buildings that are unique or people who are willing to live out on the edge ahead of the curve and experiment. But for those who are starting, where it's right at the beginning of this market, they're finding so many reasons why this is so much better than concrete, right? So the way it handles moisture and humidity, it's just fantastic, right? And it's just healthier for the environment all the way around, right? And the way that it deals with things like vapor. Gases that pass through it, that it's easier to keep for the warm to stay warm and the cool to stay cool. So in the summer months, you don't need as much air conditioning, which means using a lot more electricity. In the winter months, you don't need as much heat because it holds the heat much better than concrete. So there's a lot of reasons why this makes a lot of sense for certain kinds of buildings, but not certainly for all buildings, right? Also, now I think what they're just starting to do to make it more viable for widespread building, more universal, is we're just starting to see things like hempcrete blocks and bricks, right? So those would be the building blocks, right? So you can find a concrete block anywhere. Go to your hardware store, you'll find a cinder block, something like
mm.
that, right? We don't see that yet. So the companies just don't exist yet. So it's an emerging market. It really is. Again, hemp as a product. Hemp as a product has been around for thousands of years. It's one of the earliest products that we use to create rope and hemp because way long ago, we realized how good this plant was, how durable, how sturdy it was. It was resistant to blight, resistant to vermin, to bugs, to mold. Right? Incredible product in itself for creating things, right? Real things. But it's not until now that we figured out a way to make it into actually a building material. Which and when properly tested, it's a fireproof building material. It's a gas proof building material as it doesn't set off gases like noxious gases. And it's really just legislation and bureaucracy and some stigma that's keeping it from becoming the next great thing, right? There's a lot of folks thinking that 3D printing is going to be the next great thing. Certainly, have you seen a 3D printed house? They're not the prettiest things ever, but it doesn't mean you can't use a hemp mixture to do that, right? It's just that it's not the popular thing right now. As far as we know, you look around, people are still building houses out of concrete blocks. Now, the construction in where you live in Sweden, is it wood frame? Is it cinder block? Is it brick? What do you see in Sweden, Martin?
It's all kind of different materials and mixes of it. But yeah, where bricks is one pretty popular, but of course, as you said, then with cement blocks
Right. For
and
industrial buildings, you'll see
yeah,
like big cinder block
yeah,
buildings,
sure,
right? So this
yeah,
would be a place where it would make a lot of sense.
yeah,
Also, the material is a lot lighter than concrete, and that's why it's not as strong. But where that makes sense is it's easy to transport. You know,
mm,
when things are lighter, it means it takes less fuel to get them to the construction site. And when you're finished with the construction, it's much easier to clean up, right? It's
mm,
just a plant material that's mixed with a binder, right? So, and it's very simple to do. It's very simple to do. So, you know, you think about all of the ships that are being held out at bay, right? And these containers filled. The heavier the ship, the more gas it needs, right? The more fuel it needs to keep it running. So you could have more building material on a ship because it's lighter. It's lighter,
mm,
it's more lightweight, and it's just as durable. It's not as strong, but you wouldn't be building this for something like an industrial site or, you know, a bridge or some like city infrastructure. There could be a mix. Parts of that could be that way, but that way you would reduce the amount of concrete that you would use. And I don't think it'd be a bad thing. I mean, concrete's a
mm,
wonderful material. I think, you know, we first saw concrete during, I believe, Roman history, right? This is a
mm,
Rome in Rome. It's a Roman invention, I think, you know, so it's been around for thousands of years.
mm,
You know, so I really don't see us walking away from such a durable, excuse the pun, product. But if you know, if I had an extra $1 million lying around, I have to say million because I live here in California and real estate's
mm,
so expensive. I would certainly consider building my next house using this material, and I might do that. So, if
mm,
anybody wants to gift me $1 million after I pay my taxes from that gift, I will gladly build a house out of hempcrete and invite you over for a drink. So, to thank you
yeah.
for that wonderful gift. And enjoy
Well,
all the benefits. There's a
yeah,
bunch of great videos on the advantages of using hempcrete and how wonderful it
mm,
is to use on YouTube. And we're going to post a few of those on our website. So if you want to find out more about this product, you can go to high5forhemp.com in the show notes and check that out. Check that out.
great.
So it is a good thing, and we're just seeing it now. I saw in the news there was some news about a house that is being touted by a builder as being one of the first buildings that they have that's being created out of these materials. And not only are they using hempcrete, they are also using hemp wood, which is a compressed board that's made from hemp. And what they did was they, rather than build a new house, they took 100-year-old home, took it down to its posts, and then they rebuilt the whole outside with hemp products, including hemp wool,
Mm,
which is really great. It's really great for insulation because, as I said, it holds the heat, it holds the cool in the summer. So, and the house, you know, it's a retrofit on a century-old home. It's
yeah,
the first of its kind in Pennsylvania. Pennsylvania is very forward-thinking in the use of hemp. So this is in
okay,
Newcastle. So it's a
okay,
pilot project through Project Pennsylvania Hemp Home, and it's more affordable than a traditional home the way they did it. So they're looking at this as an alternative to build affordable housing, and using these materials, you know, that are
mm,
sustainable, right, to build these houses for people. Right, it's quite an amazing effort. There's not a lot of news beyond just the press release for this, but it's really interesting. I think it's, you know, while it's the first of its kind in Pennsylvania, we'll be seeing more and more of this as the years go on, and we'll share that with you here. Hopefully, we'll get somebody from the hemp building association,
mm,
you know, here on the show in the near future, so we can talk about the future of construction using this incredible product.
yeah.
So that's what we have to share about hempcrete. Is there any other questions you might have about it that we can
No, I
unpack
think
or explore?
that's enough for now. And we last time we talked about that we'll have a note that will go back to the fashion industry and clothing. So we'll come back to that, and we will talk more about building materials in the future. You shared with me some time ago about, as you said, isolation and how you keep a house warm and so on, and what kind of material we are using nowadays, but what you could have as an alternative. And again, it is about the supply and demand of the market and the production, and but over time, I think we will see new alternatives here, and I'm interested to learn more about that. So that's interesting to see.
Yeah, so for everybody who's watching, we want to wish you a happy Halloween. We want to wish you all the best and all the safety and reason in using those hemp products that are out there, CBD.
Yeah,
Find out for yourself what works for you. Don't trust the experts all the time.
yeah,
And be careful. Be careful.
yeah. Be careful out there.
One word of advice: if you're going to experiment with any kind of hemp product, do your homework and check on the company who is selling you those products. Make sure that they've been tested. Make sure that they have a good reputation. Check with the Better Business Bureau in your region to see what it's all about. Try to avoid temptation. I see products being sold in many places because there's very little regulation. Like, I would not recommend taking CBD or hemp products that you buy in a gas station or convenience store next to the pseudo Viagra tablets or whatever else you might find there. So just use your best judgment and enjoy and experiment and let us know. Let us know what you want to hear about. We'll be happy to go out there and find what's out there and share it with you. I'm so happy that we have a platform like HAPS. Thank you, folks at
Yeah,
HAPS, for providing us this platform to reach out to everybody. We really appreciate it. And if you want to listen to our show, our audio show, the audio version of this, go to highfiveforhemp.com or and your favorite podcast catcher. Just type it in, whether it be Apple or Google or whatever, right?
yeah,
Just you should be able to find us. We're out there. At least I found us. And if you feel like you want to get somebody like the best gift ever, right? You can get them one of our, I'm going to stand up, one of our great High Five for Hemp shirts. Yeah, look at that. So go check that out. We have a link also, and certainly in the show notes. You can go get one of those amazing shirts and
yeah. We'll
enjoy them. Comes in all the different colors.
talk
So
to
go
the
get them.
folks at Spreadshirt and see maybe in the future we could get the merchandise with hemp, also industrial hemp.
That's right. We've got to get a hemp shirt with this logo
Yeah,
on it. We will. We will do that. We will do that. There's also stickers and cups and anything else you might want
yeah.
to
And
help support our show.
we will take it organically, and it will take time. Good things take time. But
Yeah.
do you have any status report on the Discord community there?
Thanks
What's
for
going on?
reminding me. So yeah, I can tell you the status is that our Discord server, if you like to play with Discord, we do
Yeah,
have a High Five for Hemp Discord server where you can post questions, where we post links to some of the stories that we talk about. But I think the only members at this point are you and me because we really haven't
yeah,
been like working on it that hard. We all have. I mean, I know you do like 97 other podcasts, and I am a professional. I actually have a full time job that I spend most of my time on. So I'm only doing this on the weekends. So,
yeah,
it's only one thing at a time. But when the crowd grows, I think we'll see more activity in the Discord server. But if you're interested, yeah, if you're in Discord, just look up High Five for Hemp. Give us a shout out or join our growing community over there, and we'd be happy to discuss it with you in real time or post comments as well.
mm,
But for now, I think this is a good fit and a good conversation, and we'll keep it going. And if there's anything that you would like us to talk about, let us know. Right. Let us know either in the comments below or if you know us individually, just reach out to us. Let us know how it's going. We really appreciate your time and attention. And Martin, I appreciate you. Thank you for sharing some
thank
of your
you.
busy Halloween with me. I know it's
Mm,
late for you. And next week we change our clocks. So
yeah,
we'll catch up to you. We'll be an hour
yeah.
closer to you in the late time. And hopefully that'll be it. So thank you.
Thank you. Talk to you soon again.
Adios.
Cheerio. Bye.
So for those of you watching on Live Haps, we do that for the show, for the audio show. I think we'll probably now just keep it on for just like a minute or two more as we kind of wrap up. But hey, great job. We see we have a few viewers watching us
Yeah.
live. We have some viewers watching us live on Facebook. I know
Facebook. Yeah.
it's a beautiful Sunday. Everybody's out on Halloween, so there are probably not a lot of people out and about, but there were a few. So we really
Yeah.
appreciate you folks and all of that stuff. What are your plans this week, Martin? Do you have a big busy week ahead for you?
Yeah. I have some things to do with podcasting and other things. So yeah,
Good. Well, I
it's
wish you the
fall
best.
forward. Yeah. Thanks.
Fall
And you
forward, getting used to the
yeah.
new, getting up in another while it's still bright out, right? So you get to
Yeah.
sleep an extra hour. So I'm sure you're rarely asleep, as far as I know. You're always responding to me at any hour. So I really
Yeah.
appreciate that. And we'll keep a lookout for new stories and stuff like that. What I've decided I'm going to be, because I want to start streaming a little more. I've been doing these drives on Saturdays as I
Yeah.
run my errands. I put the camera in my car and I've been talking. Those have been going well. But I think maybe starting this week, I'm going to do kind of a middle of the week evening cast,
Mm.
just talking about whatever on the apps, just to keep
Great.
it going and to keep the
Yeah,
conversation
it's
going.
good. How did we do with the collab challenge? I haven't seen that announcement, but you said
I
perhaps
I
had
think we did great. I just don't know
yeah.
if it meant anything. And I know
I see.
that
I see. It's increasing with popularity with apps. And the other day, I have a so-called provisional to joke a schedule. So I have an intention to do it more often, but often other things comes across.
right.
But
No, you
but
always say
but I
that.
have yeah,
It's
but
like
I
three
have that.
times a
But
week, right? You do three,
yeah, I have
three.
even more. I want to have 5 times, but it's hard to do it. But at least a couple of times, and often this Tuesday tech that I have, and I try different time so could see the audience and so on.
So what have you
And
found?
latest was a guy now living in Italy, but original from
I
America,
watched
from
that.
Florida.
Yeah, that was
Yeah, and I thought that
fascinating.
was neat. This spur of the moment, and of course it's all the technical thing. And then we had this delay because I didn't have a lavalier mic in that way.
Right. So it
But
made it a
it
little
was fun.
challenge. Right.
So
Right.
I
And
will
it was
continue
very
with it.
informal. And how
Yeah.
about you did some experimenting using bullhorn, which is something I'd never heard before. How did that go?
Yes. Yeah. Hold cross your fingers. I could be one of these 15 that get $1,000 per pop, but I'm not sure that chance is big. But that's why I did it in one way, and I wanted to test out. I liked the features, but I also heard from you and from others that had some problems or bugs, and how do you do with the app. But again, it is this, how to say, you have to have a certain amount, and people have to do an active choice to download the app. But I liked the app, and I liked the features that you could have like a survey, you could have a call-in numbers, because the whole service is built, or how to say, a twist or a spin-off from free conference call.
Yes, it
So
sounds
I
a lot
think the
like
fun,
Talk Shoe to me, the way Talk Shoe
yeah.
used to be. And
So
I
we
just
will
don't
see.
know. I
But
don't know. Yeah, I just don't see the numbers there. I think they're counting on the talent to bring the numbers to them
yeah,
rather than them
yeah,
providing the audience, which
yeah.
is a
But
challenge.
I thought it was fun to test out, and you saw the in the app that
Yeah.
you were going live. But then, I mean, I picked the prime time in your area time zone, so it was like 5:30 in Western time, Californian time. So it was
Hmm.
2:30 Saturday for me. So it was, too early or too late, or what do you want to call it.
Yeah, unfortunately for me,
So,
I was driving somewhere and I just couldn't manage it. It was like
but
5:30 for me is usually a time where I'm
so,
running an errand or
yeah,
running around. So
so
it's
then it was live, and when you see it on their app, you could watch it. And then I, on
can
the
you
first
watch it
team,
later or do you have to only
yeah,
see it live? Is it only
no, you
live?
could watch it later on the app. But then I will
Okay.
also do the editing. I done it for one of the appearances, so I did the editing and then put it as a bonus material on my
Oh, are
RSS
you going
feed.
to do that again? You think you're going to put the your
Yeah, I said the third time then, and when I will see the announcement here on Monday, if I'm a lucky winner or whatnot. But I will keep in touch with them because I like how they demonstrated it,
good. Well,
and their
good luck with
passion.
that. I love
But
hearing about that
I'm
stuff.
realistic about it. So I said if I will do that in the future, I will not do it every week. Maybe like
Right.
a you could do a quarterly or monthly. Like a I have an idea with because I have had several guests on my Ego netcast that are artists, musical artists, and it started that it was when I shared on Twitter that I listened to Rosalla,
Hmm.
and then a guy who was working with her said, do you want her as a guest?" And I said, "Wow, it'd be an honor." So, and one thing led to another. They had contacts with a record company called Energize Records. So I've had several artists there, almost I think around 10
Yeah,
artists. So
I
that
still
could
get
be a thing to
emails.
do.
Yeah, because I've been doing podcasting for a while. I still get emails from a lot of independent record producers saying we're
Yeah,
just looking for anyone to talk to because we want to get that
yeah.
organic reach, and that's
So
great.
so
That's great.
so when I explained that podcasting compared to like a music radio station, it's not the same thing. But you like pitch your latest song, it's more like a conversation, and it have been very enjoyable. So that could maybe be a thing that you could do live, like
Yeah, absolutely.
gathering with artists. How are things
Sure.
going,
Or
and
if
then get their fans and so on. And
Yeah, if
yeah,
somebody shows up who would be a better fit for High Five for Hemp because of the
yeah,
kind of music that it is, whether it
yeah,
be, like reggae or rap or something like that,
yeah.
that's more aligned to or jam music,
Mhm.
you know, yeah,
So we
definitely.
could.
Just let us know, and I will do so as well. I hadn't thought about that, but music might be a nice alignment that we could use. Also, I can't think of any band more spooky. And this morning, I spent like an hour listening to one of my favorite dark spooky bands from Sweden, the
Mhm.
black metal band Opeth. Do you know Opeth? Michael Ackerfield and Opeth, black
Oop.
metal,
No.
black. It's black metal,
Yeah.
heavy metal, heavy
Okay.
metal.
Yeah.
Yeah, this band. I don't know where they're from in
But they are not
Sweden.
the scary. Are they the scary types? So they are so-called Satanists, or no?
Well, yeah, a little bit, but not heavy.
Yeah,
No, their
okay.
music is
No.
quite beautiful and amazing and
Okay. Good.
complicated and
Because
smart.
I watched. Now this will be on tape, but I watched a very scary documentary about some Norwegian, and they were doing all kind of crazy stuff, and one they
No,
ended up
no,
in
no, no. It's
jail
not
and so on.
like this. They do talk about the sort of demonic things sometime, but in a very beautiful,
Yeah.
gothic,
Okay. Yeah,
spooky
but
way.
that's
And
yeah.
and the lead singer is famous for singing like the big
Okay.
growl sound. But he also sings with a beautiful voice, and it's complicated, progressive heavy metal. Opeth, and it's about as Halloween as you can get. It's so dark and
Opeth.
twisted.
Yeah.
Opeth, yeah, look them up. They're Swedish. They're
Mm.
probably more American, like you, more
Yeah.
American than
Mm.
really Swedish. But I figured like everybody in Sweden must know Opeth. I'm like, no,
Okay.
they are huge in the States, right? As a
Okay.
heavy metal band. There's a
Mm.
whole the I guess there's a whole movement of Scandinavian bands that are in the heavy metal field. And I'm not a big
Mm.
heavy metal lover, but this band is of such good quality, and the music is so incredibly interesting that
Mm.
I can really appreciate it. And on Halloween, I was watching a video of theirs on YouTube of like a concert that they did, and I was just like, yeah, there just had,
Mm.
this heavy, primal kind of thing, and it's like very, very much
So
a thing. So
how
all
talking?
you Opeth fans out there, high
Yeah,
five.
go out
Yeah,
there. So
yeah.
how is the original? Not gangsters, but Eddie. What is called? Ozzy Osbourne. Is he still around?
Oh, Ozzy, yeah, and all that stuff. Well, he's a bit of a cartoon now. He's a
Yeah.
bit of a comic and an actor, and
But he has a good
yeah.
manager. His wife.
Yeah. Oh,
She
yeah, that's
knows.
right. Sharon, right? So
Yeah.
he's a bit of like a reality star. So,
Mm.
he was perfect, and he was way ahead of his time. And
Mm.
this all does come from Black Sabbath and Deep
Mm.
Purple and all of these
Yeah.
classic European have hard rock bands. That,
Mm.
but the Swedes took it just one step further. And the thing about the Swedish metal is it's
Mm,
so beautiful. Like it's such complicated and musically interesting. It's rich and deep. It's not just crazy thrashing. How fast can you
mm,
play? How loud can it be? It's dynamic. It gets soft. It's more folk like, and
mm.
but it's brutal too, and it's just great. So, but I hope Ozzy's doing all right. I don't know. He probably lives here in Hollywood, up the road from me in Hollywood, right, in
Yeah.
California. But
Okay,
he
it could be a
stopped
future
returning my
guest.
calls. Yeah, he stopped
Okay, it could be a
my
future guest.
calls. Yeah, he's back on his medication, so he doesn't want to talk to me anymore. But
Yeah, yeah,
that's nice. But
maybe he
anyhow,
needs some industrial hemp products.
I'm sure
Yeah.
he already has them. I'm surprised he doesn't have a brand already. So like that's probably in the works.
Yeah.
Ozzy's creams and oils. Yeah, I could see that
Yeah.
happening. Anyhow, Martin, it was
Yeah.
a lot of fun talking with you. We're going to wrap it up. And so for
Yeah.
everyone who's watching the feed, thank you for your attention. And we will be back in what, 2 weeks, 14
Yep.
days, a fortnight, and we'll have some other cool stuff to talk about.
Yep. Cheerio.
Adios.
Adios. Bye for now.